Yes. Yes.
I saw the salmon on the list, but like where I live, a lot of people eat salmon. It's from the rivers. They're supposed to be clean, even though they do go into the ocean. But I've heard that there's a lot of mercury in salmon as well.
There is. Clear in the Arctic Circle. And it's almost unique in hair analysis. Mercury can be validly measured by hair samples. And if the mother has 10 parts per million of mercury in her hair, then the child is headed for what is called trouble. That's the way that works. Yes?
Won't cholesterol bind with mercury and take it out of the system?
I do not know beans about cholesterol and mercury. Excellent question. Anybody here understand cholesterol and mercury? Yes?
Would you advise removal of mercury fillings?
Mercury fillings?
Would you advise removal of those?
Oh, I used to have mercury fillings. They are gone. They're gone. But look, be careful. Find a dentist who knows what he's doing so that he doesn't make more vapor than he knows what to handle. Because amateur dentists, you see, will get in there with an air drill, and the mercury vapor will go up and go in your lungs, and it'll go down in your blood, and you might have more trouble from the dentist than you did from the fish. Yeah. Here's what you need: a rubber dam procedure so that the dental work doesn't get into you, you see. So you need a dentist that really knows his business. And they'll put ceramics in that'll work much better. Anybody else have a, yes, madam?
What would you say about mercury levels in different seaweeds?
Seaweeds. Do you know of any seaweeds that eat fish? Pardon? Yeah, but see, that's not enough. Without biomagnification, this is not going to be too much of a problem. Though, if you study very carefully seaweeds, some seaweeds do have organisms from nearby cities that are detrimental. But mercury wouldn't be much of a problem with seaweed. All right, anybody else have a...
Would you say that there is or there is not such a thing as organic seaweed? Because there is a debate on
of course
seaweeds.
there's organic seaweed. Strychnine is organic. Tobacco plant is organic. Yeah, yeah. All right, anybody else have a question? Yes, Johnny? All right, anybody else have a question? Yes, it's coming.
What about some of the preservatives that are in vaccines?
Thiomerisol, to be right on target. Yes. Now, they used to put mercury in vaccines. Yes, true. But they got into trouble and took the mercury out. Yes. I think if you'll dig in this and read, there are very few vaccines still left that have mercury in it. And this might be equivalent to kissing your grandmother that has mercury fillings. Tiny. Tiny. A small amount. Very small amount. Yes. Paint. Now look, paint is famous for making mercury troubles. And the reason the greedy manufacturers put mercury in there, because it's a cheap way to keep mold from growing, you see? So this mercury can leach off of the paint and can make trouble in the family. But in the science of toxicology, dose is very important. Yes. And it's sort of like tobacco smoke. Secondhand tobacco smoke is very dangerous and very serious indeed. But it's one thing to live with a smoker, and it's another thing to walk through the bus station. You see? So the neat thing about judgment and balance of mind is this. You understand and you live with the difference of what is significant and what is really trivial. Yeah. Anybody else have a question on the fish front? Yes.
So in terms of mercury in the fish, you know that God said to not eat fish with fin, or you can eat all fish that have fins and scales.
Yes.
And now we know nowadays, 2,000 years later, that there are actually other fishes that are added on the list to avoid, like for instance, mackerels, and there's a whole ton of other fishes. And they have fins and scales. And so I was just wondering, this is obviously due to sin.
Yes.
And so why would, it's not, I'm not criticizing God or anything. I'm just wondering, obviously God would know this beforehand. And so...
Oh, guess what? Guess what? The Creator was so far ahead of this story that he gave us a prophet.
Right.
Yes. And the prophet tells us that because of the sin of man, the curse is bigger and the fish are sicker, you see. So the fish, let's put it this way, they went out of date. The fish are just out of date, right? By the way, the amino acid balance in healthy fish is not what it should be. It's too high on lysine and too shy of arginine, so that fish, they don't belong in an ideal diet if there was no mercury. People don't know that. And beside, let me say this. Be kind to fish. Watch them, don't eat them. Anybody else have a question? Yes, there's a lady.
One more.
Yes.
Some manufacturers like to hide ingredients. For instance, talking about mercury, they might not use the word mercury. Is there another name that is used to hide mercury and it's
Yes,
watching out for it?
there certainly is. It's called silence. No, they wouldn't list it. Wouldn't list it. And your question is excellent. Do you remember we learned yesterday that if something is low, they can call it zero? Yeah, sure. Greed is a disease of our whole planet, you see. So don't let them fool you on this. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to speak with you. And why not stop early instead of late? Yes. Well, yes, I'm supposed to stop at 5 minutes too, and then we get 2 minutes. Yes, brother.
Fish oil and mercury.
Ah, good question.
Any correlation?
Glad we heard you. Fish oil is excellent for live fish. But when you kill the fish and take out the oil, here's what you get. 1, cholesterol. You get PCBs. You get mutagens and carcinogens and debris that come along for the ride. Oh yes, look, the liver is detoxification center for the fish. Yeah, yes. And do you remember Dr. Winston Craig's lecture? There's vegetarian sources for omega-3, including DHA. Yes. So we don't have to scrape the oceans in order to keep our pipes open or the brain clicking. No, it's really not necessary. Well, it's been a pleasure with you, and we hope that the fish of the world will be happier